What is the constellation Orion, and what significance does it have to the occult? More importantly, why is it being mentioned in TV shows like Disney's new movie coming out this summer that teaches children how to be abducted by aliens, talking about astrology and the constellation of Orion? So why Orion? Well, Orion's history goes way back to the ancient Egyptians and ancient Greeks, and even further back to the ancient Hebrews. In ancient Aramaic or ancient Hebrew, the constellation was known as the Nephilia. The Nephilim are said to be Orion's descendants. Again, this proves the story of the Bible, which tells of how all these ancient religions and mythologies came to be, and the root or the source of these ancient mystery schools. All of these ancient mythologies point back to the Bible's original explanation of how this all came to be, which is the story of Genesis and the fallen angels influencing the corruption of human DNA, mixing the serpent seed with humans, creating a hybrid race defined in the Bible by giants. Giants, or the hybrid race, is the descendants of the Nephilim influence on mankind. This is the ancient mystery schools, and this is the start of all mythology, occultism, and has laid the foundation of almost everything in the entire world. In Greek mythology, Orion was a gigantic, supernaturally strong hunter. In medieval Muslim astronomy, Orion was known as a giant. In old Hungarian tradition, Orion was known as an archer or reaper. In recently rediscovered myths, he is actually called Nimrod, the greatest hunter. Recall that the Bible also refers to Nimrod as a mighty hunter upon the earth, and we have talked extensively about Nimrod in the past, and as you can see throughout all these videos, the common theme and thread is wherever you're talking about Apollo of the Greeks, Osiris of the Egyptians, or other prominent gods like the star constellation Orion, it all leads back to the story of Nimrod or Gilgamesh. This is the same deity or giant or hybrid that ruled the ancient Mesopotamian or Babylonian world before other ancient civilizations even began. He is also the start of Freemasonry. Using symbolism for communication, he established a one-world government, a one-world order, and we see his markings and what he left behind all over the world. Orion was also associated with Osiris, the god of the afterlife. I'd also like to bring your attention to something interesting found in the book of Job. Job is considered one of the oldest books in the Bible. When God finally breaks his silence and speaks to Job, God asks Job these questions. It states, quote, "Can you bind the chains of the cluster of stars called Pleiades, or loose the cords of the constellation Orion? Can you lead forth a constellation in its season and guide the stars of the bear with her sons?" Job 38:31-32 in the Amplified Version. Another translation states, quote, "Can you bind the chains of the Pleiades or loose the cords of Orion? Can you lead forth the Mazzaroth in their season? Or can you guide the bear with his children?" End quote. We see here in these scripture references to several clusters of stars. One of these clusters is Pleiades and Orion. In addition, Mazzaroth means constellation of the zodiac. This is very interesting because no matter how far back you go in ancient civilization, whether it's Assyrian or Babylonian, etc., all had knowledge of the constellation of the zodiac. Being that Job is one of the oldest books in the Bible, it makes this clear that the zodiac was well known as far as back as Job. Moreover, the star cluster called Pleiades in mythology represents the seven sisters or teachers of the infant Dionysus. Further, Orion is a cluster of stars or constellations that is considered to be the heavenly representation of the god Osiris, which we just learned is actually Nimrod. According to the current Secretary General of Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities, this cluster of stars was known to the ancient Egyptians as the House of Osiris, Lord of the underground tunnels. The three pyramids of Giza seem to be designed to reflect this Orion belt of star clusters. So here we have the Bible literally explaining the root of all these ancient Egyptian pyramids and why they were built. The question still remains, how were they built and who helped them? Additionally, it confirms all the mysticism and magic and practices supposedly taught by the fallen angels. This has also led to assumptions that these pyramids date back to these ancient days in the Bible, perhaps before the flood. It could also give further proof of what we learned about Nimrod and how he actually is the god Apollo or Osiris, since the Egyptians were building the pyramids under his supposed death. We as Christians must realize is that even though that particular giant may be dead, the spirit is still on today and is still seeking to redo what was once done before. So when you see this type of mythology or star constellations or terminology used in TV shows, especially those of children, I believe the producers and the people who put that in there know exactly what this means in the occult and what it means in the Bible. And what they're really talking about is the Antichrist spirit that is trying to control and manipulate the entire world, who is working tirelessly through the world systems to bring about this one world government yet again.